Hi everyone and welcome. So today's video is rounding out Stamptember from Simon Says Stamp with their exclusive Stamptember 2025 card kit. I'm going to be doing an unboxing here for you to show you the contents of the kit and then sharing with you these 3 cards and how I created them. The first thing I'm sharing with you from the box is this mini blending brush. I'm not sure the exact name of them, but they are kind of a smaller blending brush from Holtz. You're also getting this beautiful layering stamp set. We have a Pinecone stencil. And then there is this pack from Simple Stories, like an ephemera pack. I'm going to walk through that a little bit later. You have a small sweater die, which is super adorable. And then another beautiful layering stamp set. We also have a 3D embossing folder with coordinating dies for some of the images that are embossed. You have 2 envelopes to get you started on mailing out your cards, and I love that they have the adhesive already in there. There is some pattern paper I'm going to walk through in just a minute, and you're also getting cardstock. So lots of things to get you started in creating your cards. Oh, and there's also a couple, I can't remember how many, but there's some mini ink cubes in there as well to help you ink blend your Pinecone stencil, which I loved that stencil. You're going to see it here in just a minute. I'm quickly going through the pattern paper. It is some beautiful pattern paper. It is double-sided. And now I dumped out that ephemera pack, and I'm going to quickly go through some of these images. I love these because they are all ready to go to add to your projects. I would just add foam tape behind them and pop them up on card fronts, and you can make a ton of cards just using that ephemera pack. I did plan on using some of those pieces, and instead of trying to put them back in the bag or leaving them spread on my desk, I'm putting them in one of those large craft stacks from Spellbinders. So, of course, the first thing I grabbed was that Pinecone stencil. So it's a 4-piece layering stencil. And I do also want to mention that there are coordinating dies for both of the stamp sets and also the stencil. Those are not included in the card kit, but you can purchase them separately. I'm going to be using my full-size ink pads to do my ink blending. Now, before I talk about that, I am marking off the corners of that stencil after I blended it, so that way I know where to line up the next stencils. And I'm going to go through each layer. Now, the colors I'm using are from the same colors that you're getting in the kit, the mini ink cubes. I have the large ink pads, and I love ink blending with large ink pads. I love being able to pick up a lot of ink at once instead of working with the small ink pads. But if you've never tried Simon Says Stamp's ink before, they are great that you can kind of experiment with those small cubes before deciding if you want to invest. I know when I first started getting into card making, I did buy mini ink cubes at first. And then since I discovered that I love ink blending so much, I just jumped right into the full-size ink pads. So I had a 5.5 by 8.5 sheet of white cardstock, so I was able to fit 2 pine cones on 1 sheet. I trimmed that in half with my paper trimmer, and then I'm taking these Recoil scissors from Holtz, and I'm going to fussy cut it because I don't have the coordinating dies for them. I absolutely love having dies, but I did not have them for this particular image, so I did do a little bit of fussy cutting. So I'm not going to walk you through like every little step when it comes to putting my cards together. I'm kind of showing you the process when I get something like this to play with. And when I was going through that pattern paper, these types of papers drew me in immediately, which was those little like 3x4 sized, what do we want to call them, panels. They already have images on them. I actually like to use those in pocket scrapbooking when I was scrapbooking more. I am going to save that because I do want to get back into scrapbooking a little bit. But I trimmed some of those out. Actually, I think 2 sheets I trimmed out. And then I went through that ephemera pack and I was kind of picking out the images that spoke to me right away, the ones that I wanted to use. There's already pre-done sentiments. So I just kind of went through and started kind of creating the layout, what images worked best together. I had 3 designs picked out that I wanted to do, and I trimmed out some more of the pattern paper. I did add a little bit of a layer of white cardstock behind each of those patterns. I don't normally mat my pattern paper like that, but I did want to create some separation between the two. So it's like maybe a 1/16 of an inch border. So here's the first card already done. It was using the leaf. You're going to see that again in just a minute. The second card, I'm using this large pine cone along with those deer from the ephemera pack. I kind of layered them over the top. I love this large pine cone, and I have some little sprigs and berries kind of sticking out towards the top. That, of course, is my focal point, and then adding one of those smaller sentiments also from the ephemera pack. So all of my designs are pretty much the same, where I have those 2 layers of pattern paper and cardstock and then the focal point in the center. I find that the easiest, especially with a card kit, is just to keep the design or the layout of the card all the same. Then I don't feel so overwhelmed. Now, there is a bow in that ephemera pack that I thought looked just perfect with the pine cone. There's also some images of postage, some vintage postage, which I thought looked really cool as well. And then that large W down there that was going to be for my sentiment. And at first, I thought about putting my pattern paper at an angle, and I really liked the idea, but I just could not do it. Now, most of my embellishments and ephemera pieces are all popped up with foam tape, so it does have dimension. And I'm going to go through and I am adding some sparkle to everything using some diamond stickles. And as you can see, I kept the card base all that dark green color, so it all kind of matched, but you do have a couple other colors in that pack that you could use. I love this really vintage woodsy feel to all of the cards. So I just have 3 cards here, but of course you can get a ton more cards from this. You can do tags, you can do scrapbook pages. There's so many more things that you can get out of just this one kit. But I do hope that this video brought you some inspiration and kind of gave you a little sneak peek into my crazy way of sorting out and trying to decide how to tackle a project like that without feeling overwhelmed. If you're interested in this Stamptember exclusive card kit from Simon Says Stamp, I will have a link down below in the video description. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Here is another video that I think you might enjoy.